Good day, my name is Giselle A. Marcelo from Field 2-1. And now, we are going to discuss the story entitled A Doll's House by Henrik Ibsen. So let's start with the brief author information. Who is Henrik Ibsen? Henrik Johan Ibsen was a Norwegian playwright and theater director. Henrik Ibsen is often called the father of the modern drama. His plays remains popular today and are said to be the second most performed in the world after Shakespeare. Ibsen's dramas offer psychoanalysis and critique and the masterful portrayal of existential and psychological conflict. Henrik Ibsen was born on March 20, 1828 in Skien Municipality, Norway, and he died on May 23, 1906 in Oslo, Norway. So let's proceed to the synopsis of the selection. As the place opens, Nora enters her home along with a number of gifts as it is Christmas Eve. Her husband Halmer chides her for spending lavishly on these things, as the last year they were out of money because she spent too much. But Nora doesn't find anything wrong with spending money because her husband is about to get a promotion. While they are talking, the maid came to announce that Dr. Rank and Mrs. Linde have come. While Halmer goes away, Nora attends Mrs. Linde and they had a share. They talk about their lives and Linda tells Nora about her unhappy life because her husband died without leaving fortune or children for her. And Mrs. Linde explains that for years she had to care for her sick mother and her two younger brothers. While Nora also shared her life story to Lindy. Nora says that her life was equally difficult. Since last year, they had a hard time as her husband got ill. The expenses of treatment were quite high and she had to borrow money from Krogstad by forging her father's signature without telling him, even her husband. Since then, she is secretly saving to pay off her debt. Also, Halmer became a bank manager and thus their economic conditions got better. Linda tells Nora that she came in search of a job. Nora assures to help her. Krogstad, an employee at Torvalds Bank, appears and goes straight to Halmer, and his appearance makes Nora uneasy. And a little later, Halmer comes out and when Nora tells him about Mrs. Linde, he at once agrees to give her a job at his bank. All leave and Nora remains alone. Just then, Krogstad comes and tells Nora that her husband is about to fire him from the job and asks her to pursue her husband to let him retain his job or else he will disclose her crime, yung forgery, to him, saying this, he leaves. When Halmer returns back, Nora pleads him not to fire Krogstad from his job, but Halmer tells about his hypocrisy and lies and remains unmoved to his decisions. Now, let's continue to the context of the selection. A Doll's House is set in Norway on 1879, and this story is based on Laura Kaler, who took out a loan under her husband's name to save his life. However, she was discovered and sent to a mental asylum or a mental asylum. And then in the 19th century, marriage restricted women's ideas of working, freedom of choice, freedom of money, and having to raise children and please their husbands. Personal and political freedom are important issues when this story was written, because Norway had been from Danish control in 1814. They were trying to establish cultural identity, and the themes in Ibsen's life that are represented in this story are financial struggle and servants or maids' power and hierarchy within the house, affluence and authority, public image, debt, and conflict between reality and appearance. Let's continue with the critic. So I have here 5 questions, and the first question is, what forces are motivating the characters? And then the answer is, Nora truly believes that Manny will be a better mother and that living children is in their best interest, while Mrs. Linden must fulfill her duties and hastily marry a man for his money instead of being with someone she genuinely loves. Actually, each character in Henrik Ibsen's play A Doll's House is greatly influenced and swayed by society. Number 2, which behaviors of the characters are conscious one? My answer in this question was, Helmer is governed by the rules of society and Nora habitually follows her heart. Number 3, what conscious or unconscious conflict exists between the characters? So my answer is, Nora has forged her father's name on the loan she received from Krogstad, and he is threatening to expose her to Helmer. The fourth question, what roles do psychological disorder and dreams play in this story? My answer is, Nora, as a woman, a wife, or a mother, behaves like a doll. She is under the control of the invisible hands and the pressures of patriarchal society. Ibsen protests against the position of women in a masculine society, which is unfair and under the hegemony of male-dominated powers. So the last question is, how does the work reflect the writer's personal psychology? So my answer here is, Ibsen felt that rather than merely live together, husband and wife should live as equals, free to become their own human beings. And this belief can be seen clearly in A Doll's House. Consequently, Ibsen's critics attack him for failing to respect the institution of marriage. Like his private life, Ibsen's writing tended to stir up sensitive social issues, and some corners of Norwegian society frowned upon his work, sensing criticism in Oslo about not only his work but also his private life. Ibsen moved to Italy in 1864 with the support of a traveling grant and the stipend from the Norwegian government. Let's proceed to the reaction, or my personal insights or takeaways from the story. So for me, A Dollhouse represents a picture of an innocent 19th century woman struggling to achieve emancipation, and this play contradicted the existing beliefs that wife is expected to be contentedly passive and the husband paternally protective, and she would never leave her children. So that's all. I hope you learned something from me. Thanks for watching.